Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I am Peter Hunter. I'm one of the co-founders here at VeryBusy.io. Welcome in today. We're going to be talking about unlocking frictionless retouching workflows. Now, before we really dive in, for those of you just getting introduced to VeryBusy.io, we are a retouching management software that offers one source of truth for all things post-production. Whether you're a solo freelance retoucher, you're a team of post-production professionals in-house, or you're simply someone who frequently collaborates with retouchers, VeryBusy.io is your software made to fit for your workflow, no matter what the size or scale of your project. So, frictionless retouching workflows. I am a retoucher by trade. It's in my blood. Over the last decade or so, been really involved with trying to streamline my own workflows, with my team's workflows. And it's something I'm passionate about because it can make such a difference. And that's kind of what I want to get to today. And also what VeryBusy.io can do to help you achieve this. It's our main reason behind why we started building VeryBusy.io. So in today's agenda, we're going to cover a few things. First, I want to talk about what makes the retouching world frictionless. Let's set a baseline for jumping into the further specifics about what we'll talk about. Second, what are the benefits of a frictionless workflow? I'm going to focus on 10 benefits I find, that really affect what my experience is. There are a lot more. I'm going to focus on these 10. Third, we're going to do a little VeryBusy.io demo. I'm going to show you how VeryBusy.io helps you create these frictionless workflows, because that's exactly why we're building VeryBusy, is for this purpose. And then lastly, I'm going to walk you through a common workflow that we see our current users using in VeryBusy.io. So first things first, what makes a workflow frictionless? There are 6 things we've identified that go into building a frictionless workflow. The most obvious one, I think, is when you think of frictionless is streamlined and efficient. There's no friction. So it must be streamlined, it must be efficient, your workflow. Second, seamless integration. Each step of the workflow, from file ingestion to reviews to approvals to delivery, it all needs to smoothly into each other. We don't want impediments. We don't want little jump starts. We want everything to go very smoothly, stay on track, stay on time, stay on budget. Automation, another big one. This lives on both sides, both the management side of a production, but also in the production side. Automation within your actual retouching, scripts, actions, all that kinds of stuff. We're going to focus more on the automation of simple tasks within the management of a project. So I think this is the big one, and it really involves also preventing burnout, preventing mistakes. These are things that, I don't think are talked about a lot, but within post-production, specifically retouching, whether you're marking up 100 images or whether you're cleaning up 100 images, even if it's not even if it's 10 images, it takes time. It takes a lot of effort. Some of these can be very detailed. There's a lot of repetition. So the more we can streamline these things and automate these things, the easier it's going to make our lives. Intuitive tools, which VeryBusy.io would be, anything new to a workflow. It must be easy to understand, easy to use, and adopt for everyone involved. A common thing, a kind of a little quote we had while we're building VeryBusy is it has to be as easy as email or people won't use it. They have to be intuitive. We are used to certain things within the interfaces we work with every day, whether it's PC, Mac, Photoshop, the Adobe products, So intuitive workplaces will be something that you're familiar with, that, you can jump in, hopefully minimal onboarding. No onboarding would be wonderful, but there's always going to be something. But yes, intuitive tools. Clear procedures. Number 5, we see a lot of workflows get bottlenecked by being too complex. And then people don't follow the actual procedures, the actual workflows when they're too complex. They stray away from it and kind of do their own thing, which can make a mess. So keeping things very simple and concise, simplicity is king. And finally, number 6, it's minimal interruptions. We talk about one source of truth for a project. Keeping everything and everyone within a single platform, within a single work environment, consistent tools, it will really help accomplish this. Now, let's dive in a bit deeper to the more specific things to retouching, frictionless workflows for retouching. What are the benefits? What will we get when we kind of make our workflows more efficient and frictionless? I have 10 things here I'm going to go over the next 2 slides. There are more. In my experience, these are the things that have really affected how I run my business and how we're building VeryBusy to help other retouchers, help other creatives work through their retouching workflows. It's a lot of info is in here. I know the slide, and I know we're streaming on LinkedIn too. So if you can't read this, we'll share this this deck out afterwards, so you can kind of dive in and see the details if you can't read them on your screen right now. But increased efficiency. I think this is one of the most obvious ones when you're streamlining anything. But a lot of time, I feel like a lot of time the production's first approach is looking to streamline the actual retouching process itself, just to save time, save money. I think we're all used to that. We submit an estimate, we submit a quote. They come back, hey, we got to slash this, or can you do this? Same amount of work for less. It's something we've all experienced. Whether it's cutting assets, restricting time but not the workload, lessening the retouching requirements, dare I say, cutting out steps, or doing, opting for lesser quality than what is actually required. Trying to cut down on all these billable hours to cut costs, meet deadlines, quotas. It's something, I think it's a common thing to first look at, let's attack the creative first. What in this actual production pipeline, what are we going to do to save time and money? Which is the other half of the equation that definitely does need to be looked at. However, I always prefer to look at the project management side first. When estimating, when looking at budgets, there is a lot of stuff we can work on within the project management that we can address first before trying to cannibalize the actual creative production side of things. So all this time and, the effect and the money that goes into a shoot, in creating these assets, why are we going to, I just don't see why we want to limit our time and limit our assets, limit our resources for the post-process. Just the post-process will make it shine. It's the ending, it's the wrap-up, it's that bow on top of what we created in the shoot. So now I believe the project management side tends to be neglected or forgot about quite a bit, but this is where we can find some big improvements. Time savings, and it can really set us apart, not only in terms of time and perhaps some money, but as a retoucher, as a creative team, if you're, trying to win over clients and stuff, it can set you apart from your competitors when bidding projects, winning over clients, attracting new talent to your team, and just overall bettering your team, your creative team in general. So let's dive down to our list here. I started with increased efficiency. This I think is a no-brainer. Fewer review rounds, faster completion to projects, due to all the streamlined processes, reduce time spent on repetitive tasks, the manual operations. Improve quality. I think it's very important. If you're going to cut time, you don't want to cut quality. So figuring that out is kind of your first thing you want to try to address. If you're cutting time and losing quality, there's a better way to go about this. And this is what we're going to talk through. So being able to be consistent, high quality output due to standardized procedures with fewer errors and mistakes. Enhanced collaboration, easier communication between the team for handoffs between, files between team members, smoother integration of feedback and changes. The communication between stakeholders in a project is key to what this all comes together in, because communication is really what falls apart first. If things aren't set properly, if you aren't coming into a production as a whole, but especially post-production without a plan, without a framework. Project team satisfaction. Now, I think this is one you shouldn't underestimate. There's going to be less time doing busy work for your team. And this equates, this is directly attached to burnout, especially teams who are doing high throughput. You see this in e-com studios. You see it in, a lot of smaller agencies and stuff who are pumping out a lot of work with minimal resources. Anything you can do to make your production people's lives easier in terms of the management of a project, and preventing burnout is key, because this is a career. This is This is a side of a production that burnout can creep in fast, and it can creep in over one project. So I think the team satisfaction is a big point and something that shouldn't be overlooked. On the other side of that, better client satisfaction. I mentioned before having a competitive advantage when you come to the table with a really thought out workflow, efficient, frictionless workflow that you can present to a client. Maybe they haven't seen before, and they're like, heck, we didn't know this could be any better. We didn't know we had to spend all this time marking up JPEGs and then organizing all this into a PDF and sending it through. And no, there's a better way. Coming to the table with these solutions for your clients, they'll be happier. You'll exceed expectations, and the clearer communication, I think, is a breath of fresh air in a lot of areas. Next slide. These are our remaining 5. Cost savings, of course. Labor costs, billable, hourly rates. If you're charging, the labor costs in terms of, hey, if I can cut time down on the production, on the management side of this project, and still keep my hours here with my actual production, I can either be more competitive when I'm bidding, or I can maintain cost and have a lot more wiggle room. Scalability, of course. I think a lot of us, hopefully, maybe you don't, it's all your preference, but we came about this issue because my business partner and I were trying to scale. And while scaling, we were running into issues. So having a framework for your productions, having a standardization of how you receive assets, how you receive feedback, and how you communicate with all of your clients. Standardizing all that will help you scale. It'll make things easier, more predictable. And also, overall, just with your client base, when they see how you perform, when you're abiding by, some of these standardizations you're setting for yourself, things go a lot smoother, and clients tend to like that, and they will come back and they will see this. Tying that kind of in again to competitive advantage, you're able to take on more projects, more clients, or if you don't want that, you have more time for yourself, more time for the family, more time to do anything else you want to do. Building that reputation, not only creatively as a retoucher, you can stand up and put your work up there, but from a production and just a business standpoint, you're on point as well. It's, you need to have both to really build a good career here in this industry. Second to last, adaptability. I think we all know in this industry, things are always changing. When you have a framework, it doesn't mean you always have to abide by that framework, but you should have a framework that is adaptable. That means if things change, you can quickly abide by those changes. You can adapt. So you can bring on new tools and technologies, flexible processes that evolve. Like if you're taking on a new client and they have some new requirements, your workflow can evolve to fit that. And finally, resource optimization. Optimate tools, software, team skills, VeryBusy fits into this. You really want to be efficient in management of all the projects, the timelines, deadlines, everything. So these are kind of the 10 main advantages and benefits we have really taken from, making our workflows frictionless, streamlining them, and what also motivated us and built into VeryBusy.io to help others. Now, kind of getting to the meat of VeryBusy, how does VeryBusy help? I mentioned this all influenced us when we were trying to build VeryBusy, but now actually, how does it help? And I would like to start I want to give you a little background of where we come from, where I come from, my team, and where we are now. So back in 2016, running a retouching studio with my fellow retoucher, Emily Fishman. We were trying to scale. We wanted to bring on more clients. We wanted to get specific jobs. We wanted to work with more people. But as we were trying to push and do this, we were realizing how much time was spent gathering, organizing, clarifying, tracking, retouching notes, assets, and just the overall management of projects. As a retoucher or any other creative within this whole process, when you have 3, 4, 5 projects going on at once, and all these projects or clients are using different types of communication, you have copious email chains, with PDFs, PowerPoints, Google Slides, text feedback, and emails. It gets overwhelming very fast. Things will be missed, mistakes will be made, You know, there has to be a better way. And this is where we were in 2016. We're like, there's got to be a better way. So we dove in. At the time, you know, a lot of these and this whole decade here, collaboration softwares were coming out, and you know, there's some good ones out there. So we started experimenting. We started trying them out. You know, what can we incorporate into our practice to streamline all this? We had a few requirements. One, you know, main one was being it needed to be image centric with retouching industry workflows. So, you know, over the next year testing all these, you know, top of mind, you know, we were like, okay, we want images to be the hero. We wanted to do this well. You know, the collaboration software on the market at this time, when we dove in, it was either video centric or design based and tried to do everything. You know, we wanted website, images, video, design. We want to do everything in this platform. However, trying to do everything, trying to be a jack of all trades, these didn't give way to good retouching workflows. You know, we need to mark up many images fast, sometimes incredibly detailed, not to mention color accuracy. You know, and the ability to easily view past review rounds, directly compare past notes to current image, you know, being able to audit all that. You know, these other platforms simply weren't built for this, and they didn't have this in mind. They were kind of shallow in terms of capabilities, and they didn't really check all the boxes we wanted if we were going to make a switch and make something really part of our core. Another thing we were looking at was we wanted it to be simple solutions that require minimal to no onboarding. We work with different people, different creative teams every week, and convincing people to learn new software was out of the question. Teaching people new software was out of the question. You know, we needed it as easy as, you know, sending a link or inviting to a project and they can jump in. This kind of goes back to when I was talking about our saying of it has to be as easy as email or no one will use it. You know, we needed to come up with a solution that would standardize everything we were intaking, notes, assets, communication, but it had to be as easy as email for our clients. That was our problem that we had to solve for. And finally, another thing we were running into is, you know, we didn't, not finally, but another aspect on the simple solution, we don't need an overabundance of tools and settings. I call it software bloat. I think you see it way too much these days where things keep getting added on until it's just, there's a platform that does a million things, but nothing the best, you know? So we wanted something simple, fast, secure. That's what we want. We don't need AI crop suggestions or complicated review setups and frameworks, and, you know, simplicity is king. That's what we needed. Oops, I think I moved my slide over here. There we go. And lastly, it came down to pricing as well. Some of the solutions we found, you know, we wanted our solution to be scalable because, of course, we were trying to scale, but we also wanted it to be reasonably priced. Some of the solutions we found that we did like, you know, there's some that had some markup file interfaces that were nice. You know, the workflows didn't, again, work to our advantage sometimes. But at the same time, these were part of larger enterprise solutions that were charging like a minimum $2,500 a month, which, you know, it's a hard monthly bill to bite for something like this until we really see results. And you know, at the time, you know, we're not enterprise clients, so it was meant for more enterprise solutions. And you know, as a freelancer, as a small studio, that's a large ticket to handle. $2,500 plus a month. So we needed something to be affordable, scalable, something that could be for, you know, the solo freelance retoucher, or perhaps a larger creative studio that had, you know, 50 teammates on there that needed access to the platform. So that's a little background here on why we kind of jumped into to find a new solution, what we found. In 2019, we were coming up empty-handed. There was a few close ones, but it was like, you know, there's got to be something better still. And we came up with a wonderful idea of, hey, let's just build one. How hard can it be? Jump to 6 years later, 2024, which we are now. Over 3,000 creatives around our platform right now, collaborating, pushing the retouching workflows through VeryBusy.io. We're generating great user feedback, which we have found to be the base for our development roadmap. So the feedback we are getting directly from these retouchers, these photographers, these creative directors, art directors, that's how we're feeding our development platform, the development timeline of VeryBusy.io. So what does VeryBusy do? Simply put, VeryBusy centralizes your assets, your view rounds, approvals, providing frictionless collaboration and time savings to keep your photography projects on track and within scope. So I want to go over quickly kind of what we call the VeryBusy framework of like workflow framework. And it's really, it probably looks incredibly familiar because it's kind of a standard workflow you'll see in any retouching or photography production. As you see here, we have, let me scale this larger for you guys if I can. Of course, we're going to start with a shoot. We got to make these assets that we're going to be retouching. The shoot doesn't take place in VeryBusy. The shoot sounds like, that's kind of the beginning takeoff. But from everything here, everything in green here in this workflow could be done in VeryBusy. So from the shoot, upload assets to VeryBusy. Simple as that. It could be from set. It can be after the fact. The digital tech can do it. The photographer can do it. It's a simple drag and drop. Drop your assets up into VeryBusy. High-res TIFF, PSDs, JPEGs, GIFs, what have you. Now, this area, there's kind of two tracks here you could take. You could upload some shot folders. Maybe you processed out a bunch of shot folders, and you could upload those to VeryBusy and have your team, the art director, or whoever you're working with, cull. They can cull the folders. They can make their selects, which would be our next step, and then you go into the feedback process. But sometimes you're on set. Maybe it's an advertising product shoot. You're doing 3 shots a day. And you don't really have selects to be made. They're made there right on set. You have your files, you have your plates, and you can just upload them directly. So that way you just go right into the feedback stage. So here you can go either track. You're going to hit feedback and retouching. So these are where our review rounds are. And this is where VeryBusy really shines and really saves you time. You hit feedback, you get feedback on images, retouching, upload new round, feedback, retouching. So this goes until you're ready for your image approvals. Once images are approved, they can, depending on how, and I'll show you this here when I demo it, the final approval, that image can be downloaded, and that's your final. If there's more specific download or final requirements, maybe they have an e-com spec, and then they have an ad spec, an ISM spec, you have to perhaps make a finals folder and upload all these different kinds of versions. So that's where we go into our delivery. And then finally, archive. You can save your projects. A nice thing about VeryBusy too, especially for growing teams, when you archive a project, when you hide it in your dashboard, you can go back to this project and look through all the rounds. So if you have a new retoucher coming on board, you can show them all the markups you guys went through for this client. Like, this is what they're marking up. This is what's consistent across these projects. So if you want to get familiar with this project, familiar with this client, onboard a new retoucher, you can show them these projects and they can go through and get used to or get up to date on how the client's marking up images, what things they're calling out, and how the process is looking. Okay, so I am going to share a little bit of the interface of VeryBusy now. I'm going to demo kind of a typical workflow project that we have here. Let's jump in here. So if some of you have not been or trialed or have been able to work in VeryBusy before, I'm going to do a little brief overview of kind of the interface as I'm going so you can get familiar with it. But hopefully, like I said before, we wanted to make this very simple. So hopefully it catches on fast. So here we are. We are in our VeryBusy interface. When you first create an account, you're going to drop into your dashboard here, your project dashboard. And any projects you've been invited to or you've created will show up here. So as you can see, I have 2 projects here. Across the bar here, you got your profile. You got us. You can always chat with us for help. Uploads, downloads, and of course, some notifications. Now, I have 2 projects here. I'm going to start by creating a project and walking you through a process, and then we're going to come back and kind of look at perhaps a project in progress and kind of see what it looks like and how it's being effective. So easily put, let's say, let's say I'm a digital tech on set. We're shooting, I don't know, we could shoot some lifestyle. Well, actually, I got some lifestyle images here. Let's say I'm a digital tech after the fact, and I was shared this project with myself. Well, no, let's create a project first. Let's just do a test project here. So clicking on create project, you're going to enter, we have spaces for project name. You can start at start and end date. Client name, let's just say VeryBusy is our client. And here's something specific to our retouching workflow. Understanding where you want to start with your review rounds. Now, there's times where you're getting just the raw images and you want to start at a round 0 or, no retouching has been done. So we could designate it as, round 0. Or you can start at round 1. Say the photographer already did a color pass and they're uploading that and you still want to upload the raws for comparison. So you could just start at round 1. So when you upload those new colored profiles, we know these have been colored. They're not the actual raw, uncolored, untreated images. For this, I'm going to start at round 0. And of course, if you have other people in your workspaces, you can invite them pretty fast by checking that box. So here's our next screen. So once you create your project, you're dumped into it. Now, let's say I am that digital tech and I was shared this project. Now I'm going to upload some of the selects that we have from set. I'm going to drag and drop. I'm not going to do a whole bunch just for time savings, but let's drop in just 14 images here. Now I'm going to show you a few different things we can do here, depending on your workflow. I just drag and drop some images right into the project. Might be a good solution, might not be, depending on how complicated your workflow is and how many shots you have or how your production looks. This is the simplest way you could do something if it's just a matter of having, we have 14 images here, and this is what we're going to be reviewing. Now, let's say, what if you have multiple shoot days? We have multiple shot folders. We can go through, we can either create folders for, each designation we want to do. Maybe it's per day, per shot. Or you could just drag and drop in folders as well. So let's see here. Let me pull up. Let's do this one. 1 and 2. So let's pretend I got 2 shot folders here that I'm going to upload. So you can just literally drag and drop, your shot folders up into the platform. So this would be a good use case for, if say you have, 10 shot folders from the day, no selects have been made. Let's just upload these shot folders. The art directors can then on their time go through and make their selects. So like, here's our first shot folder here. Everything's populating in. I think right now I've been uploading full res JPEGs, but you can see we got, nice renders. They go fast. You can get in here fast and start culling and reviewing these things. So when I'm talking about making selects, let's just jump back here again. Let's make this 3. I'm just going to throw these first ones I uploaded in here. So let's just say I uploaded 3 shot folders for this project. Shot folders 1, 2, and 3. Now, as an art director, I could jump in, go into each folder, start making my selects. But before even doing any of this, we're going to have to share out this project with whoever we need to be part of the project. And there's 2 ways we can do that. So after creating the project, uploading assets, share the project with your team. Up here, share project, big blue button, pretty obvious. This will open your share project modal. And this is another part of the kind of frictionless workflow process that we were kind of adamant about. A lot of feedback we had when looking at other platforms was we don't want our clients to have to make accounts to get into something because that's so frustrating and it's so hard to get new clients into a new platform to be part of your workflow if they need to remember another password, another account, or they think they need to learn something new. So we have accountless collaboration via a share link. Simply put, once this is activated, I can copy this link and anybody I send this link to, they click on it. And once they click on it, they're going to be dropped right into this view right here. Now, if this is their first time entering the platform, we do have a little onboarding modal that comes up that can walk them through quickly some of the key features of what to do. Otherwise, it's very simple. They're not even going to be asked for their name, email, nothing. They're not going to be asked for any information until perhaps they try to make a markup. Then we need to know who they are. We need to know, like, what's your name? Well, we need to know what kind of markups you're making, we need to know who we're responding to. So at that point, they'll be asked for a name and email and a role. That's it. They're not making an account, but as a guest. So it's incredibly frictionless and easy for people to do. So literally just when you're ready to go, say, hey, so-and-so, images are up and ready for you to review. Here's the link. Art director clicks on the link, dropped into here, and it's similar to probably what they see on their computer interface in their Finder or Bridge. Okay, I got folders with images. I'm going to jump in and, either in markup view, you can go picture to picture and cull. We have, let's talk about labels here because that'll be our next part when we're going to be culling images and actually rating them. We actually just released label groups, which is amazing because you can make custom templates for your workspace. So you can make, I can make an ecom template that has all my tags that I have for ecom projects, whether it's 1 through 5 stars, in progress, is it progress states, whether it's designating what retoucher is working on this image. Incredibly flexible. They're all customizable. So for right now, I'm just going to simply make I'll make it purple. Let's make a select tag. So you can also see here, we have, once we get them going, you can do either Control-1, Control-2. Once we get these built up in succession, you'll see that they have hotkeys. So you can quickly, cull through these. Command-1, you can see now it's a select. Cull, or I can click it again to remove it. So your art director can jump in here. You can already have a template loaded for labels, so they know, hey, these are my labels that I'm going to be rating these with, making my selects. If there's multiple art directors coming in and talking about selects, you can make select tags that are their names, like so-and-so's picking these, so-and-so's picking these. Let's filter them. Now let's look and see what's left. So created project, uploaded assets, invited our collaborators, and now we have collaborators in and making selects. And of course, you can make all other kinds of labels like rejects if you need to, or, literally it's all custom labels. You can do whatever you really want with them in terms of what you want to make. So back onto, I'm going to quickly jump back to our little workflow here. We did the shoot, upload to VB, set up our project within here. Calling in selects, we kind of just went through. I had uploaded 3 shot folders where an art director could go in, make their selects. And now we're going to come back to the feedback. So let's say we got some selects here. When I go back to my main level here, if I want to quickly see a glimpse into each of these folders, we have a little folder overview here. So if I click here, I can quickly see I have 2 selects made already. You can jump even further, gives you some more information regarding size, assets. We have the same thing for our project. So like in this project, this is, let's see here, I got 47 assets, 5 gigs worth. So you can get some quick information on these folders. Maybe you're doing a morning overview of what needs to be done. Selects have been made, how many selects you have. Of course, all the other tags will show up here depending on what you've made and what's been applied within the folder or the project. So feedback, this is the fun part. So as an art director, I've made my selects. Now there's a few things, there's 2 different directions we've seen people use within the platform. You can leave your project or your folders in states like this, where you're basically organizing everything via tags. So I can go up to filter here, and you can filter by tag. So I just want to see all my selects. And once I'm in this, once I've selected that view, if I go back into this project and back into this folder, I'm only going to see my selects until I go and change this. We do have a little filters applied reset here to let people know if they feel like they're not seeing a certain image, let's reset that filter. Because then you can also reset this and I can say, okay, I need to add 1 more select. Okay, let's go back to my selects now. So these are my selects. When I'm going to go in here now, and this will be my first round of notes I'm going to make. So I'm going to pretend like I'm the art director here. One thing we did with VeryBusy and kind of touching back on the frictionless workflow walkthrough I did and making things consistent and easily adoptable. A lot of us work in Adobe. We are familiar with Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, InDesign. So we have replicated and we're using a lot of the same hotkeys. So Command Control plus or minus, zooming in on things, space bar to hold and pan. You can also use your wheel. And then of course, Command 1 through 9 for, different tags and stuff, depending on what you've built. So first things first, as you can see, you can zoom in fast. We do have a little navigator window down here too, if it's easier on like a laptop per se. On the left-hand side here, you'll see we have a little bread trail here, which shows us where we are. We're in test project folder 3, shot 01012, and you'll see our round. So we're round 0. This is essentially just our raw image here. We haven't done anything to it. So we're going to be making our round 1 comments now. To the left, we have our comment bar, which we have 2 different settings for this. Unresolved comments, so you will only see comments that are unresolved, or all comments, where you can see all comments, resolved and unresolved. This will come into play later on when maybe you're in round 3 and you want to see all comments, even the resolved ones, so you can kind of compare maybe to the last round if notes were actually addressed correctly and you like what you're seeing. On the right here, we have hide markups and a before and after button, which I'll also get to once we get to the next round. And bottom left, here is where some of the magic happens. We got a couple tools here we can use to mark up. And here's another aspect of what we tried hard with VeryBusy to do as when talking to our users and retouchers and art directors, we understand, sometimes you'll have a project, especially on catalog shoots, library shoots, stuff like that. You're going to have, 50, 75, 100 images that you're going to go through and need to leave feedback on for your retoucher. A lot of platforms out there, you're going to click here, draw it, click enter, go to the next one, click here, it could take forever, and it's a pain in the ass, forgive my French, but so going in here, we want to make it very simple. When you actually jump into markup view here, as you could see, I was like quickly jumping in and moving around. But you are automatically, you have your cursor. So you are able to go in and start marking up stuff. So I could use arrows. I'm going to hit undo there because actually I want to go back to my little drawing pen here. Actually, let's do this guy. So you can immediately start marking up. You don't have to hit any buttons. I'm going to hit my next arrow to go to my next image. I'm going to mark up. And then automatically your cursor's live, so you can leave some feedback here. So I'm just going to say like, remove highlight, enter, done. And then automatically, I don't have to press anything. I'm going to go on to my next markup. So you can quickly, go through here and make your markups. That's how fast it is. Of course, you'll probably take some more time getting in here and looking at the specifics, but just to let you know how you don't have to spend wasteful time clicking to make markups. It's literally draw, give some context to your markup, enter. So incredibly fast. We wanted it, we needed an easy way for art directors, creative directors, or anybody else to get through their feedback fast, because that it can be such a time suck. Having to open up JPEGs or a PDF and make comments and trying to get things articulated and then organized and then sent over. This is an incredibly, the fastest way you could make markups on an image. And then, of course, boom, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to zoom in and okay. Like I said, boom, test. I'm going to do an arrow over here, boom, test. Of course, make better comments than I am. But, I just wanted to show you how fast it is to make markups, contextualize them, and have them all recorded here and organized and VeryBusy per image. Now, you can also see you can attach files here. You can attach up to 3 1 gig files, which is great for a specific comment, or maybe you have a reference file. Maybe you have some artwork, some vector files for a specific product that you need to have placement on. Creative decks, reference, anything you want to attach here, you can attach. Let's see here. Let's just attach this one then. Just for an example. So let's just something like that. So you can see here, I have this little attachment here, so it'll be contextualized because it could be attached to a markup, like if you need placement of an art file or something. Or maybe it's just a composite file that your art director wants to show you some references. So boom, look at that. You can download that. And then finally, like many platforms you have today, we have an at mention. So if you need to at mention anybody that is invited into the project, you can at mention them. They'll get a little email ping saying, hey, you have a new at mention here. So while I'm marking all these up, kind of in the background, this is kind of an automation part that we want. A lot of emails are spent going back and forth saying, hey, here's files, this is ready, here's files, this is ready. So we wanted to automate some of our this conversational stuff that goes back and forth via email. So as you can see here, actually, since this project has been open, I have Emily here, my business partner, who was in here and made me some notes that I can quickly go see. So I can click in here and, oh, look at Emily made me this note. I'm going to click into it. Look at that. And that's actually another little Easter egg that we love about this platform. Let me go back into our other project, and then I'll talk about notifications and notification emails. A big thing that we were finding as retouchers, receiving feedback, whether it be markups on PDFs, marked up JPEGs, comments on PowerPoints, is when you get down to the really specific stuff. Like sometimes you'll have an art director who really is specific and wants to, has a lot of feedback for you, and say they, literally like, oh, I want to take this little raindrop away. Now, when I zoom out, that's hard to see. I might miss that, so let's say remove. Oh, make sure you spell better than me. I might miss that. I might not see that. And of course, they probably use, a gray color that blends in with the image. Okay, I'm missing that. But within VeryBusy, if that is made, if I click on this comment, it zooms right into that little markup for me. And then I have some contextualized text here for what they want me to do with it. So it kind of forces whoever's giving you feedback into giving you proper, good feedback that is detailed and contextualized. So you don't have to make that list of extra asks or questions and email back and then wait and then come back. So we're trying to get all the feedback into kind of a standardized situation where it's associated per image. We have markups, but we also have text contextualizing what needs to be done with this markup. So let's go back here. I want to jump back in. I kind of went sideways here, but I want to talk about notifications because it's another huge part of the platform. And really streamlining and making this whole thing frictionless by cutting down on emails, text messages, whatever you have to communicate with the team in terms of saying something's ready, something's not ready, hey, you need to look at this. So I showed you up here, we do have a little notifications panel, which will log, all kinds of things that are going. If a new round was added, replies, at mentions for you, comments, markups, flags, all this kind of stuff you could be filtered out and you can figure out. But also, I want to show you, I actually threw them in here, our email notifications. So let's talk about these for a second. We do our email notifications on a time basis, and they are kind of a digest of what's going on. So you can set, actually, let's go here, settings. So you can actually set, I want to get my notifications every 15 minutes, every hour, or every day. And so depending on what that's set at, you are going to get an email notification that looks like this. So, hey, hi, Peter, you have unseen notifications for the following projects. So this one's for this project. I have 8 unseen notifications, and it's going to lay out which notifications I have. I have 6 assets set to priority, 4 assets approved, 8 new screenshots. 8 new comments. Now, this is, of course, just a screenshot that I took from my email that I have in VeryBusy here for easily to show you guys what it looks like. If you have more than one project, you're going to get them separated. So you can quickly go to each project and see exactly what's happening in each project. Here's some more notifications for when you get an invite. So in terms of how people get notified, we really try to break down and let the user know, hey, this is the project you're part of. This is what happened in that project you need to pay attention to. And of course, if there's an app mention for a certain person, they'll have that app mention here too. Hey, you have so many app mentions, and it'll list out the images that they're mentioned on that they can click directly into. And then, of course, if they want to, through notifications, they can just go to their app mentions. I don't have any, but yeah. While we're in here, I also want to spend some time on notifications for the in-app stuff. So I showed you our notification panel, but also we have some little things that we have within our thumbnails. So on the bottom of our thumbnail, you'll see the bottom left is kind of dedicated to notification stamps, either a timestamp or if it's a new asset, a new round, if the new label has been applied. So you'll see this bottom left change according to what has been happening with the actual asset. You may have saw this earlier when I was in the platform, but we have a little comments icon here to show how many unresolved comments are within an image so you know if it needs to be addressed. And of course, we have priority tags in the upper right, which are very useful for, of course, setting an asset to priority and making it show up kind of top of menu if you're going to filter by that. So if I go back in here, I'm going to jump into a project that's been ongoing so you can kind of see what it looks like when you're in the thick of it. This one right here. So this one has a tag in progress right now. We have 14 unresolved comments. It was last updated today at 11:47. If I open my info panel, it looks like we have 33 plates. We have 14 selects. Open it even more. I can see is last modified by Emily Fishman. I can see more data about the whole project here too, size, number of assets, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to click into this. Now, what we see here, we can see that I have all my selects, and then you can also see there's plates here too. So what this is a project that is a product project that they uploaded all the assets, both selects and plates, into the platform. They tagged them. And so now I can either sort by select, I can sort by plate, or maybe I want to put all plates into a folder, and I can make a folder and throw all my plates in there. And so I don't need to use filters. If I want to use filters for something else, you can organize by folders, but this is how this one's organized. So after this, let's say I downloaded all these assets. These are all high-risk TIFFs. I'm ready to, as a retoucher, I'm ready to start retouching. I'm just going to set this to selects because this is the only thing I'm concerned about. Even if I want to go even further, I could go, I only want to see things with unresolved comments. So these are the only images that have comments that are outstanding that I need to pay attention to. And again, with our custom labels and stuff too, you can have a lot of customability with this, designating maybe who's going to be addressing these retouching notes and such. You also have app mentions too. So look at here, I got 6 items here that have retouching notes. So this one has new activity on it. So I can see since I've last entered the platform and seen this project in this folder, this is new activity. This is new activity. I've already seen this one, and this is new activity. So these new activity ones, I can actually sort by new activity, and you'll see these are all, this one was 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So they're all organized by date. So I'm going to jump into this first one here. Now Emily's left me some comments here. I got some cleanup. I got some remove dust flecks. Simple, easy to understand. Click here, address this in Photoshop. Click here, I'll address this in Photoshop. My preferred method of this, I work on 2 screens. Most of the users that we've been talking to, especially retouchers, use 2 screens. And so this is a viable solution for, you'll have VeryBusy up on one side, and then you'll have, Photoshop on the side, on the other screen. So 2 comments here. I can go through, let's say I'm in Photoshop, dusted it up, cleaned it up, and I fix this up. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to resolve these 2 comments. So now if I go back out here, I only have 5 images because I'm actually, I'm filtered by unresolved. If I reset this filter, actually, let's just go back to my selects. You can see that this one no longer has unresolved comments on it. It's been resolved. I'm going to go through and get ready. Let's go back in here. I resolved this. So actually, after I resolve these comments, essentially my image is ready to upload the next round. And actually, as I do this, I'm going to download this quick. You can append round numbers or download a low res if you want. I'm just going to do the original. I'm going to do this quick in Photoshop just so you can see some kind of difference, because I want to show you some of the before and after and compare features as we're kind of running tight on here. And then actually, let's see here. It looks like we may have, let's see here. Great. So, curves. 1 second, I'm going to make some changes to this image here. So, it's going to be very bad. This isn't retouching. I'm just doing it to show a difference. So when I upload this image, okay, so I address these notes. Images is ready to go. So what I can do is there's a couple ways you can upload new rounds. You could do it from your asset view, and this is actually kind of nice because say I just spent the time, I went through and I did all the notes on all these images. So I'd have like, I'd have essentially six images that I need to update. I can just drag and drop my new images into VeryBusy. It'll recognize it via the file name and stack it on top of the other image for the next round. So you can update, 100 images at one time if you want. Or if you're within this interface, you can simply just drag and drop it. We also have hard buttons too, so you can add around by clicking here. But let's see here. This is 3.1. I'm going to drag and drop this new one in here. So again, I'm just uploading in high res. Actually, this is a layered high res TIFF now. You can upload high res, of course, layered stuff too. If you want to send through anything layered, making comment times for if you need separation of background, shadows, stuff like that. All works here. We can render it. And you can say I just blasted this thing with dust and scratches just to prove a point here of a before and after. But check this out. So upper right hand corner, I briefly mentioned this. We got Control B, or you can actually click on this. But our main thing here is we want to see before and after. So I can even zoom in here. Like I said, I blasted this thing with dust and scratches. That's crazy. Or I can hit Control Command B. So you can quickly zoom in and even the smallest details see the before and afters that are going on within an image. Now, taking it a step further, if I go back here, I'm going to switch this panel to all comments. So now I can see my round 0 comments against my current image. So I'm going to click on this one. Well, looks like I didn't address that. So I'm going to have to go back and uncheck this one and readdress it. Remove dust and specks. Hey, that's great. That one's resolved. So I'm going to go back and, as an art director, unresolve this. If I go back to unresolved comments, this will show up. No matter what round I'm in, unresolved comments will always show up. And maybe I want to reply to this one like, this was missed at Emily. Boom. So now when she comes back into this platform, I guess it would be this. Technically, she would be saying this to me, but yeah, you get the point. She'll come back in and be like, okay, this was missed. This has to be addressed, and so on. So, it's incredibly easy for the back and forth. Being able to review images quickly. Well, first of all, being able to mark up and give feedback quickly, but also review them quickly as well. So this is kind of the basic workflow. And once we get to the end and let's say, hey, you know what? We went through a couple review rounds on all of these and hey, they all got approved. Wonderful. So what do we do now? Being that I was uploading high-res TIFFs here, they could just download those if they want, but maybe they have some more requirements for the files they need. Maybe they need certain sizes, certain crops. I don't know, whatever that could be. So a lot of times what you could do is you could do this from the start of a project, or if you need to clean it up a bit, I am going to go through, reset all this. I'm going to let's select everything. I'm going to put all of this. Well, let's do this. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put all of these just into a review folder. So my reviews in here, my final files will be in here. So if you archive this project, you can always go back in here. I can go back to this image and I can audit, everything that this image went through and see all the markups and whatnot. We have a history of it. So getting back in here. So now I've separated to review and a finals folder. In finals folder here, I can drag and drop in. If I have a script that processes out 10 different versions of one file organized by folder, then by file type, you can drop it right into here. And then your client can simply just come in here and download the folder. Last thing, let's see here. It looks like we have some questions. Sorry, I've been neglecting some questions that have been coming in. Looks like Emily may have been answering some things. Image based on file names, huge advantage over for now. Curious if it's able to download notes to a PDF. Yeah, so as of right now, no downloading notes to a PDF per se. It's definitely on our backlog. It's been asked for before. Currently, we're really focusing on revamping our backend. We have some big improvements coming for even faster uploads, faster downloads, faster loading times, and then addressing there's a plethora of other markup things we want to refine and get to. This is one of them. So both, I think the next step of our frictionless workflow is being able to, one, adapt. So being able to maybe download that PDF, images with markups, but also contextualizing them with the text. And then, of course, also perhaps being able to load markups into an image like in Photoshop. Being able to directly go from VeryBusy to Photoshop with notes and being able to manage them that way. That's kind of our next step, our next tier to attack, being even more frictionless and even removing the step of maybe a back and forth between two platforms. Sorry, I'm just trying to look through here for some other questions that may have come up. Great. Great. Notified. Question the result comes. Yeah. So David had a question regarding resolve comments. If you resolve a comment, are people notified? And as of now, we don't have those as notifications. The main thing being, we used to, and then we got a lot of feedback being that when a retoucher's going through a batch of images and they're resolving the comments, and then people are getting updates, they're coming back to the platform, looking at those images that said they're updated, but they don't see any changes. They don't notice that, the change was only the resolving of comments. The change wasn't a new image round uploaded. So we took away those notifications to simplify that process and prevent confusion. Now, I think there's definitely some use cases that would be great to know if, being notified of resolved comments. So one thing we have been talking about, within notification and settings, we have some things you can actually check and uncheck here. So maybe adding being notified for resolved comments, maybe it's by default off and then later you can turn it on. One thing we're thinking, but one thing I do want to point out, I'm kind of cutting close on time here. Let's go to feedback. VeryBusy.io. Like I said before, as we're building through on this, we love getting feedback, comments, criticisms, anything from our users. We have art directors, creative directors, photographers, retouchers, digital techs. All their jobs are a bit different, and we see some overlap in a lot of things when we get this feedback. So we love hearing the feedback and really trying to direct our roadmap based on what people are asking for. So feedback.verybusy.io, you can go here, and if you have an idea, a question, anything, you can submit it here. There's already a handful of stuff under here, and you can see we've been researching, considering, and actually deploying and completing some of these things. So this is kind of where we come from, also from within the platform. Let's go back into here. If you hit your help button, upper right-hand corner, there's a direct link here to that feedback site. You can also just chat with us here. Let us know. You can email us as well. Feedback is kind of the root of what we do in terms of figuring out what we want to develop. So please let us know what questions you have, what you want to see. We're incredibly proud of what we're building. It's really changed how I have worked within my practice as a retoucher. It's amazing seeing other people on the platform now and how it's, changing their workflows, changing their lives essentially. Because if you're freeing up time, it's amazing the other things you can do with it. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. I'll share out the deck I had previously. If anybody wants to kind of see, I know some of the text was small in here, but yeah, I'll share it out. You guys can see it. I do want to leave you with we got a really cool feedback and a little testimonial from a user of us over at the Honest Company, Adrian. At this point, I wouldn't retouch imagery without VeryBusy. Full quote here, I have my whole team on it, and everyone who I introduce to the program gets hooked. Regardless of industry, there will be a campaign or project that has an incredibly short timeline, and any opportunity to make the process more streamlined and gain time is a win. VeryBusy.io feels like that little hack that's giving me an edge when working with a nimble team and maintaining high expectations. Recent feedback, a recent testimonial we got, which lit our day up because we love hearing it. And this is how we feel. And, we're trying to spread the word and, more people on the platform, more adoption, more feedback. We can really start pushing this thing in a direction to hopefully be, a standard in our industry, prevent headaches and really free up our times either personally, professionally, and change kind of the stagnant way I think post-production has been in terms of retouching, review, feedback, and asset management. So that's all I got for you guys today. There was a lot here. We'll do more. If you have specific things you want to talk about kind of within maybe this broad context of frictionless workflows or anything else, please let me know. Either in the comments or, like I said, feedback site. You can email us hello@verybusy.io. And yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in.